What's going on, guys? Garrett from Greenside Gaming, and today we're going to dive into something a little bit different. We're going to do a React video, and we're going to choose probably my favorite YouTuber, the Fat Electrician, Nick, the Fat Electrician. So this is uh, his second channel, the Fat Files, and this one is Anger Issues and Fried Chicken: The Life of Colonel Sanders. So without further ado, let's get to the video.
There is absolutely nothing that is going to prepare you for how crazy this story actually is.
You have my attention.
Today we're talking about Colonel Sanders, yes, the KFC guy. Okay, according to a 2010 study, only 40% of Americans between the ages of 19 and 25 knew that Colonel Sanders was a real person, and even less people know that he was a complete gangster his entire life. Okay, most people don't realize this, but the sweet elderly Southern gentleman from the KFC logo didn't start selling Kentucky Fried Chicken till he was 66 years old. Prior to that, he had done every job under the sun. He worked for the railroad. He used to be a lawyer until he lost his law license for beating up his own clients in open court. He used to be involved in turf wars with bootleggers and oil companies during the Great Depression. He has been in, won, and is undefeated in gunfights. He is a notorious adulterer that once bragged that he was still getting laid at 83 years old. This dude cussed so much that KFC had to heavily edit every TV and radio ad spot he ever did.
Go yourself, San Diego.
I gotta love Anchorman.
Nice work, everyone.
And I could keep going, but we're going to cover all of it in the story right after a word from our sponsor.
Delete me. Can you settle a debate?
Like the guns.
What? Which 9 mils better?
Yeah.
Neither. There's a third option.
Oh,
MP5.
didn't know you were packing.
No respect for the classics. All right, here's the deal. Super simple,
Wait a
straightforward.
minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
No respect for the classics.
Okay, I actually don't know. Is that an Airsoft magazine on the bottom? Because it looks kind of like one that I had. It was an MP5K, and in order to charge it, the battery was actually in the magazine, so you plug it into the bottom. Or do they just have holes in the bottom of their magazines? Let's see. Okay, there is some kind of hole in them. All right, back to the Fat Electrician.
Classics. All right, here's the deal. Super simple, straightforward business model. You give them money, they turn around and make sure the data brokers on the internet aren't selling your personal information. What does that even mean? Okay, here's the entire internet and every free service on the planet inside of a nutshell. Okay, there's a saying, if you're not paying for the product, you are the product. What that means is pretty much anything on the internet that you use, that's a service, whether that be Google, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, all of it. Okay, it's all an app. So one of two things is happening. They're either going to feed you ads, and that's how that company
Kind of makes me think of like if you're on a farm, the cows and the pigs and whatever, they don't have to pay for the feed because, well, it's going to be like a pork farm or it's going to be a cow farm or something. So it's in that same realm, right? You don't have to pay for any of Google's products, but it's because you are the product.
makes money since their service is free, or they're going to collect your personal information, then turn around and sell it to data brokers on the internet, and then they're going to turn around and sell it to whoever buys it, and next thing you know, you're getting 17,000 robocalls every single day. And that's where Delete Me comes in. They will look through all the major data brokers and find the ones that are selling your personal information and submit opt-out requests on your behalf, and then they are legally obligated to comply. And then they'll continue to monitor these data brokers, and if they get your information again, Delete Me will submit an opt-out request again. Basically, you're paying Delete Me to get rid of all the down downsides of all of the free stuff on the internet, which I think is absolutely worth it. If you want to check them out, I'll have a link and a discount code down below. Let's get back to the video. Our story begins on September 9th, 1890 in Henryville, Indiana, when a young Harlan Sanders is born on a farm. He is the oldest of 3 siblings, and like pretty much every other story I've ever told of somebody that was born in the 18 or 1900s, he had a really rough childhood with a lot of manual labor, just wasn't a good time all around. At the age of 5 years old, his father passes away, and his mother has to step up and be the breadwinner for the whole family, so she's always gone working at a factory in town, and
If he was rough and tough in life, chances are he probably, a lot of them just didn't have a dad. And that's still prevalent today. You don't have a dad. Not if you don't have a dad, but most people who are like in jail, on the streets, in gangs, doing drugs, not all of them, but a lot of them either don't have a good relationship with or don't know their dad. It's really sad.
5-year-old Harlan basically has to raise his younger siblings by himself, literally starts cooking all the food for the family at 5 years old. Fast forward, he's 12 years old. Harlan's mother finds a new husband. They get married. Harlan and the stepdad do not get along whatsoever. Shortly after this, he leaves home at the age of 12. For the next 4 years, he just kind of bums around the area, working on farms, doing manual labor jobs, and then at the age of 16, he falsifies his birth certificate to join the army, gets in, deploys to Cuba, serves his entire enlistment, and then comes back home. While in the army, he picks up the habit of, as he puts it, cussing like a sailor, using excessive profanity. People later in his life said he couldn't go a single sentence without including the term goddamn. In his own autobiography, he said, and I quote, "I used to cuss the prettiest you ever heard." So 18 years old, goes back home, gets a job with the railroad, starts traveling all over the country, working for the railroad. While he's on the road, he meets a woman by the name of Josephine King. They wind up getting married, start having kids. So Josephine's back home with the kids. He's still working with the railroad. Obviously, he's gone a lot. And while he's gone, he decides he's gonna cheat on his wife. Like, a lot. Or as he referred to it as tomcatting. So he's going all over the country just slinging, which is foreshadowing at its finest. Okay, not great, but that's what happened, and it also gets worse. He also got fired from different jobs at different railroads a lot. Sometimes he was working for the railroad, sometimes he was like a traveling door-to-door salesman. He just kept bouncing from job to job to job because he had a humongous anger problem and was always getting in fistfights and beating the shit out of people.
That is correct. The medulla oblongata.
But Mama
The
said...
medulla oblongata is where anger, jealousy, and aggression come from.
After a while, his wife Josephine, understandably so, is fed up with his shit, and she decides while he's on the road, she's gonna leave him. He's lost his job too many times, he's cheating on her, she's out. She gives up the house, she sells all the furniture, she takes the kids, and moves back home with her parents. And Harlan is awkwardly pissed off about the furniture. Like, he's mad about
Really? His wife just left and you're mad about the furniture? Life would be a lot easier, just people just keeping their pants. It'd be a lot less complicated, but
the kids too, but he's very upset about the furniture for some reason. Like in his autobiography, he says, and I quote, "That hurt me. I figured she didn't have any right to take my children or give away my furniture."
didn't have any. Dude, you threw away that whole marriage.
He is equally as
Alright, well.
concerned about the furniture as he is about the kids, which I don't understand, but whatever. And it's probably because the furniture is gone. She gave it away. There's nothing he can ever do to get his precious furniture back. The kids, on the other hand, she still has the kids. They're at Grandma and Grandpa's house living with Josephine. He could still do something about that. So like a rational adult, he decides he's gonna go to court and fight for custody of his kids. No, I'm just kidding. He concocts a plan where he's gonna go wait in the woods outside of Grandma and Grandpa's house, and he's going to kidnap the kids.
That's a terrible idea.
Again, in his own words, although I didn't consider it rightly kidnapping since they was mine. So he heads over to Grandma and Grandpa's house, hiding in the woods in a pile of leaves, waiting for the kids to come outside to play. He's then gonna snatch up the kids, take them to the train station, and bounce. This is the early 1900s. They're never gonna catch him. So he's out in the woods, laying in this pile of leaves, waiting for the kids to come out to play, and he's just waiting, and he's waiting, and then eventually the sun comes up. It's Kentucky, it's summertime, it starts getting hot, he starts getting sweaty, there's flies buzzing around, and after hours of waiting, the kids still haven't come out. He's like, okay, this isn't gonna fucking work. So he decides he's just gonna go up to the door and knock. Goes up to the door, knocks on the door. His father-in-law answers the door and just says, "Howdy, Harlan," and invites him in because, you know, it's the father of his children. Why wouldn't you do that? He has no idea the guy was just planning to kidnap his grandkids. Harlan, his father, and Josephine then proceed to sit down in the living room and have awkward small talk for a little while. And he just gets up eventually and is like, I guess I'm gonna go. And Josephine is like, where are you going? And he's like, I found a new job in Illinois working for the rail company. I'm gonna head out there. And she goes, no, I think you better stay with me. And that was it. They stayed married for another 37 years. Now he's got his family back, I guess.
Oh, okay. You had me going there for the first part. The second half kind of threw me.
Absolutely.
I mean, hey, you know what? Till death do us part. I mean, till death do us part. Like, we're married too. Like, I don't know how you don't stay faithful to a spouse, and then also, but hey, you know what? Good on him for staying with his wife, and good on his wife for having that kind of patience. 'Cause yeah, that's just next level patience with a husband obsessed with shenanigans.
Absolutely zero life lessons learned, keeps cussing, keeps fighting, keeps cheating on his wife, goes back to working
Oh,
for the
well.
railroad. Eventually, he decides he wants to better himself, he wants to get a better career, make more money for his family, the whole 9 yards, so he starts studying to become a lawyer via correspondence, basically taking college classes through the mail. Think of it as like antique version of online schooling. That's what he does. Winds up studying to become a lawyer through correspondence, passes the bar, and becomes a lawyer. Does that for a little while, has a pretty successful law career spooling up, and then one day, in open court, his temper gets the better of him.
A medulla oblongata.
We don't know the exact context of what happened, but every account of what happened has a chair involved. Some accounts say that his own client attacked him with a chair. Some accounts say it was the other way around and he beat the shit out of his client with a chair. Either way, he turned the open courtroom into a WWE match. Because of this, he obviously loses his law license and goes back to job hopping. So he's a door-to-door
Yeah.
salesman for insurance, and then after that, he decides he wants to be an entrepreneur, so he spools up an illegal ferrying operation across the Ohio River. The police eventually put a kibosh to that, so then he goes to work for Michelin Tire, being a tire salesman. And finally, that goes good. That's going great. The dude can sell tires like a motherfucker. He works his way up from being a salesman to like the regional director for the entire tri-state area that he's in, and he's like one of the big wigs at Michelin Tire. But then karma finally catches up to him, and we kick off the lifelong saga of karma desperately trying to put Harlan Sanders, this madman, in his place, and Harlan Sanders just adamantly refusing. One day he's driving his Model T with Michelin tires across the bridge, and the fucking bridge collapses, totaling his car. And at this point in time, he doesn't have enough money to buy a new car, so Michelin Tires fires him because you can't work for Michelin Tires as a tire salesman if you're not using Michelin tires, which is kind of fucked up, but also like there's no Amish electricians, so I get it.
Oh, right, because I'm Amish, so I wouldn't know anything about your 69 GTO Judge. 455 big block, Ram Air, 411 Posi, something like that? Weird, that thing must have fallen straight from space. Well, good luck with your future ride, spaceman.
Who is that from? Because that's Austin, or that's Dr. Evil's son, Austin Powers.
So he takes what money he does have and he starts a settling lamp business. Gotta remember, this is like 1820s. Not everybody has electricity in their house with light bulbs, so people are using these little gas lamps to, you know, put on the table to be able to see at night. He starts a business making those. Very quickly, electricity becomes readily available, puts him out of business. Karma is just trying to shut this guy down. So he decides, all right, I'm gonna have to go to the next big town over. I'm gonna have to go get a job, don't have a car, I'm broke. So he hitchhikes to Louisville, Kentucky, and the first car to pick him up tells him his life story, and the guy's like, I actually own a gas station, and I'm looking for somebody to run it for me. You think you can do it? And Harlan Sanders is like, Sure, why not? So he takes over this gas station, starts running it. Somewhere along the line, he comes up with the idea of like, hey, I could be more competitive and I could get all the business from all the truckers if I start selling food at my gas station. So he already likes cooking food, and that's what he does. He starts making food, selling it at his gas station, and then he gets all the trucker business as well. The gas station is outrageously successful. Karma kicks in again. The Great Depression happens, shuts this small gas station down, puts him out of business. From here, Shell Oil
Been there
Company
before.
reaches out to him and is like, hey, we knew you were super successful at running this other gas station in a small town in Kentucky. We have another gas station that's right on the main highway that's going to be able to stay open during the Great Depression because it gets all this traffic from the highway. We want you to run it. Harlan Sanders takes the job. So he moves out to Corbin, Kentucky, where this gas station is, and this place is super ghetto. It's literally nicknamed Hell's Half Acre. You gotta remember, this is the Great Depression. Everybody's poor. Poor people commit crime to feed their kids. So you got that going on. On top of that, you've got prohibition. This is right by the highway. All the bootleggers are running their booze through this area. There's all kinds of crime. So he takes over this gas station, starts selling gas, starts selling food, but he needs people to know that there's food around. So he starts putting up signs and everything saying like, hey, we're a gas station that also serves food. This is Kentucky in like 1930, whatever the fuck. And people just love shooting at signs, I guess. And it gets so bad that you can't even read the signs because there's so many bullet holes in them. So he comes up with an alternative idea of he goes to all of the farmers in like a 50-mile radius and pays them to be able to paint a big advertisement on the side of their barn because people aren't going to be shooting at a farmer's barn because they could hit somebody or hit an animal, or a farmer's going to come out with a shotgun and fucking shoot you back. And it's a brilliant idea, and it's working really, really good. And it starts cutting into the other rival gas station's business, and that gas station is owned by a guy by a name of Matt Stewart, and he's pissed off about it. So he goes around and starts painting over Harlan's barn signs. Harlan finds out about this, so like an adult with a cool, rational head, goes over to Stewart's gas station and very politely tells him to stop or, and I quote, I'll blow your fucking head off.
Wow.
Okay, Harlan Sanders is not going to tolerate people messing with his money.
Playing with my money is like playing with my emotions.
A couple weeks later, Harlan's got a big day. Some Shell oil executives, 2 of them, are coming to town to have a meeting with Harlan about how well his gas station is performing. And while they're sitting in the gas station having a meeting, talking about how great of a job Harlan's doing, one of the employees comes in and lets him know, hey, Matt Stewart is out on the side of the road right now painting over one of your advertisements on farmer so-and-so's barn. At which point...
Wait a minute, let me guess. He's gonna go out there and he's gonna get in a fight with this dude. I bet he's gonna get in a fight with this dude. What do we think? Hang on one second. Ah, sorry, the dog was barking. He was ready to come in. All right, let's see if I'm right.
Harlan says, I told that motherfucker what I was gonna do, so he grabs his gun. The Shell oil executives also grab guns, and they go out and confront Matt Stewart.
Wait, the executives are also bringing their guns too? Like, I get this was 1930s, just like carrying guns around for what the heck, for the heck of it. It's like not a huge deal or anything, but like these are oil executive, big time businessmen, lots of money. Like that I was not expecting.
Get out of the car. Matt Stewart draws a gun, fires at them, killing one of the Shell oil executives, to which Harlan Sanders then shoots him in the shoulder, drops him on the ground, disarms him, and waits for the police to come arrest him. Harlan is found innocent because it was self-defense, and Matt Stewart now gets convicted of murder and would later be assassinated in prison.
Hey, something wrong with his medulla oblongata.
And from here, Harlan Sanders is not shy about using a firearm to get his way. There's another account where bootleggers were trying to siphon gas out of his pumps in the middle of the night, and he runs out in nothing but his underwear and confronts them and holds them at gunpoint until the sheriff shows up to arrest them. This goes on for a while.
Wait. People who sleep naked, do y'all ever think about emergency when something makes it? Two types of men. Those who fear fighting to fight a home intruder naked. Those who intend to. Which one are you? Leave a comment down below. I think I'm number two. If someone tries to break in my house, mess with my family. But the real question is, what happens if there's like fire, or you got to get out of your house, and you're butt naked, and it's like the middle of winter, like it is right now. Like right now, like where I'm at, it's like in the 30s in the daytime. We're freezing my, you know what off.
Them at gunpoint until the sheriff shows up to arrest them. This goes on for a while, very successful gas station. Eventually, Harlan ends up owning the gas station himself, at which point he kicks it into overdrive. Now he's going around tearing down signs from the competition and putting up his own signs instead. The exact thing that he was pissed off at doing, but now he's gonna do it to other people. And then, just like what happened with him, one of the other rival gas station owners runs out to confront him, at which point he pulls out a gun and tells them to get back in their fucking car. And they do.
The medulla oblongata.
So as you can see, through a combination of great food and gun violence, Harlan Sanders becomes the most successful gas station in the area, which is the most southern thing that's ever happened, ever. And by 1939, he's making more money from food than he is from selling gas, so he decides he's just gonna sell more food and quit selling gas, and he opens up a 140-seat restaurant and then eventually expands that business to have a motel right next door as well. Now, the problem he runs into here is being able to cook food at the standard that he likes to cook food at in the quantity that this restaurant is now demanding. And the big problem he has is with the fried chicken. Everybody loves his fried chicken. He's got a secret blend of 11 herbs and spices. Everybody loves it. But the problem is real fried chicken is cooked in boiling grease on a skillet over the stove, and you just can't cook it very fast. It takes too long, you can't make bulk batches, and the wait times at the restaurant is just taking forever. So he develops a way to cook fried chicken inside of a pressure cooker, which still makes it taste way better than if you deep fry it. And this takes the cook time on his fried chicken from like 30 plus minutes down to 7 or 8 minutes. So he's got that figured out, things are going great, he's got his new restaurant, his new motel right in 1939, and then karma steps in to try to shut him down again. 1939, World War II kicks off for America, and all of a sudden, America is now rationing rubber and gas, meaning less people are traveling.
Wait a minute. That wasn't 1930. Wait, did they start getting involved in 1939? Like when Britain and France declared war on Germany? Because I know they were doing like Lend-Lease and cash and carry and stuff like that before they actually like joined the war. But they started all this rationing stuff before, and I also know they did the draft before too. But they did rationing and everything before then. Interesting.
Business is built right on the highway and relies on highway travelers, so he's not making enough money. But Harlan Sanders, not taking no for an answer, refuses to quit, keeps running his motel and his restaurant business, but also takes a job in Tennessee, which is nearby, at a place called Oak Ridge, because the government has thrown up some new facility where they're making something and they need somebody to come in and run all the cafeterias to feed the workers, and he oversees the cooking of 36,000 meals a day to feed all of these people working at this secret government facility. Does that through the rest of
There
World
we
War
go. Government job. Talk about security right there. Yeah.
II. When World War II ends, that job kind of comes to an end. They no longer need this factory for whatever reason, so he goes back to his hotel and restaurant, which everything's fine now because they're no longer rationing gas and tires and people are traveling again. And later we would find out that the Oak Ridge facility in Tennessee is where they refined all the plutonium for the Manhattan Project, which we use to nuke Japan. Which makes it kind of awkward that it's a Christmas tradition in Japan to order KFC, but whatever.
They went from an incredibly martial culture with the samurai and all that good stuff to not. Just straight pacifism.
So comes back home, starts running his restaurant and hotel full time, hires a new female employee, starts having an affair on his wife with her. Her name is Claudine Price. Shortly after that affair, he divorces his wife, marries her instead in 1947. Then in 1952, he meets another wealthy restaurant owner from Salt Lake City, Utah by the name of Pete Harmon. Pete Harmon tries his fried chicken and he's like, holy shit, this stuff is awesome. Can I franchise this? I'll buy the secret blend of herbs and spices from you. You don't got to give me the secret. I'll just buy it straight from you. do? Show me how to do this with a pressure cooker, and I want to sell it in my restaurants in Salt Lake City, Utah, and I'll give you 4 cents for every piece of chicken that we sell. Colonel Sanders is like, sure. Why not? So that's what happens. Pete Harmon starts selling Sanders chicken in his restaurants, and he needs to brand it somehow. So he's from a different part of the country, so he names it Kentucky Fried Chicken and gives it the slogan, finger licking good. And Harlan doesn't really see the potential in it. He just kind of treats it as like, you know, passive revenue that this guy's mailing him a check every month and just keeps running his restaurant and motel. And then his chicken becomes like kind of famous in the area. It's getting some notoriety, and the governor of Kentucky makes him a Kentucky colonel, which is like this honorary status in the state of Kentucky. And he's like, cool, that's great, whatever. So now he's Colonel Sanders. And then around the same time, he also started a side business where he was a midwife. I told you the story was weird. Yeah, he's just going around rural Kentucky.
This 60-something-year-old man has become a midwife. Yeah. My wife and I were about to have our first kid about a week before we found out that basically we would have to have our son at 37 weeks, but we found out from this midwife who's like 6'4" and 250-pound dude. Like, nah, you're not a midwife at that point, you're mid-husband. Like, shout out to all the midwives out there, but like, if you're a dude and you're a midwife, you shouldn't be called a midwife. Especially if you're like some huge, like big burly dude or whatever. Hey, I'm so and so. I'm a midwife. You're what? No, you're a mid-husband, dude. Sorry. Shout out to all the midwives out there. I'm sure I'll disirritate someone. Just make sure to leave an angry comment down below.
Kentucky as fucking Colonel Sanders, the chicken guy, helping people deliver babies. We don't know much about it other than the fact that it happened and he delivered at least 8 kids, and one of them ended up getting named after him. When he was later interviewed and asked, like, how did you become a midwife? What training do you have? How did you even know how to do this? He simply replied, and I quote, "Oh, I know a little about it." Apparently, if you've seen enough vaginas, you just kind of know what you're doing, I guess. You can put stuff in one, you can pull stuff out of one. That makes sense, right? I guess.
Checks out.
One of his personal acquaintances later in life actually joked that he got involved in being a midwife because he was concerned that the kids were his. Which brings me to his next side gig that he started after being a midwife, which was being a vampire hunter. No, I'm just kidding, but the fact that you believe me for a second speaks volumes about this guy. Buh! Are you gonna talk about his pet crow? Buh! God, fine. Okay, look, Colonel Sanders has plenty of character flaws. However, there is a multiple humongous myths on the internet that he was like a prolific racist, ranging from he was a member of the KKK, which is not true, to he stole the secret blend of herbs and spices from his house servant when he was a child, which also isn't true. The dude grew up extremely poor. He didn't have servants in his house in the 1800s. And then there's the myth that he had a pet crow in his original restaurant, and the pet crow's name was Jim. Get it? Jim Crow in the South in the 1950s. No, that never happened. I have searched and scoured. There is no historical evidence to actually prove this. There's just a bunch of blog posts dating back to the early 2000s that insinuate this shit. That's where it all started from. I'm 99% sure. If on the off chance you have some historical evidence, let me know in the comments down below. I'll pin the comment if I'm wrong, but I highly doubt it. Colonel Sanders, deeply flawed, cheats on his wife, anger issues, not some crazy prolific racist, however. But that's not gonna stop karma from coming from him. So his restaurant and motel both burned down to the ground. Colonel Sanders, not taking no for an answer, rebuilds the restaurant, rebuilds the motel. Shortly after that, it burns down to the ground again. Colonel Sanders and karma are now in a shootout, so he rebuilds the business a second time, and then the government comes in and reroutes the highway and completely shuts him out. That's it, game over. He goes out of business. He is 65 years old, and his only income is his Social Security check, and that's just not enough. And Colonel Sanders is like, not taking no for an answer. So he takes his pressure cooker and his secret blend of herbs and spices, throws it in the trunk, Claudine hops in the car with him, and he just goes from town to failing restaurant, and is like, hey, would you like to be a KFC franchise, a Kentucky Fried Chicken franchise? My chicken is so good, it will save your failing restaurant. And for the next 5 years, at 65 years old through 70 years.
Reminds me too, with the KFC and the Japan thing, If it's Christmas time and you want to go to KFC, like, no, you got to order that stuff like a couple weeks in advance for KFC. No, I'm not kidding. I spent 4.5 years in Japan. It's like if you want KFC in December, good luck, because you're not getting there. There's just, yeah, it takes like a couple weeks. Also, nice frame.
Years old. He travels the country getting people to franchise his chicken. Him and his wife are literally sleeping in their car, and he's 65 to 70 years old the entire time. But during that 5 years, they get 200 people to franchise their chicken. 3 years after that, he's up to 600. Other things that happened during this time period. Him and Claudine go out to breakfast one morning at a diner while they're on the road trying to get chicken franchises, and he orders some eggs. The eggs roll up. They're not cooked right. He sends the eggs back. The chef says the eggs are cooked right and sends them back to him.
Colonel Sanders, you're wrong.
Colonel Sanders then proceeds to pick up the eggs, get out of the booth, walk into the diner's kitchen, and throw the eggs at the chef, at which point the chef rushes him with a kitchen knife, and Colonel Sanders, at the age of somewhere between 65 and 70, fends him off with a bar stool.
Medulla oblongata.
Another thing that happens during this time period is he's going
If you're getting rushed at by someone with a knife, get some distance. Like a bar stool will definitely keep the the pointy and the sharp end away from you, or at least potentially far enough away to where if you do get cut, it's not going to be that bad.
to all these failing restaurants, and essentially they're just buying the chicken. They're not officially becoming KFCs yet. It's still mom and pop's diner, but they also sell Kentucky Fried Chicken there. And some of these restaurants are still failing despite the fact they're now serving Kentucky Fried Chicken. So he hires a guy to help these restaurants out, to go in there and show them how to run a restaurant up to the Colonel's standard to help these businesses thrive. So that guy goes in there, fixes a bunch of KFCs, makes some profitable businesses. Colonel Sanders pays him a bunch of money. He turns around and uses that money to start his own chain of restaurants selling burgers, and that guy's name was Dave Thomas, and he named his burger chain after his daughter, Wendy.
No way. You're telling me that the dude KFC not only spawned KFC, Colonel Sanders not only spawned KFC, but the dude he hired ended up being the guy who founded Wendy's?
I told you it's a weird story, okay? You were warned. Now, this is also the same time period where he starts really leaning into the Colonel Sanders persona that we know today. He starts marketing himself as Colonel Sanders. People start calling him and knowing him as Colonel Sanders. This is when he started wearing the white suit that we all know today, because his kitchens and KFCs were so cleanly that you could work in the back of the kitchen and not get food product all over you. This is when he started dyeing his mustache and goatee all white and kind of like amping up the Southern accent and the Southern gentleman persona. Then the business model kind of shifts from just franchising the chicken itself and letting these random restaurants serve KFC to having a restaurant that was just what we know as today, a KFC, a place that just sells fried chicken. Keeps growing the company, has a ton of locations, and by 1964, he is 74 years old, and it's finally time for him to retire. People are wanting to buy the company. He doesn't want to sell the company because he knows they're going to fuck up the quality of his food. They're going to ruin it. He doesn't want to do it, but his family pressures him into it. He finally relents and sells KFC for $2 million, plus a deal to be a lifelong brand ambassador for $40,000 to $80,000 per year. Shortly after he sells the company goes public. As soon as they go public, now the company is more concerned about making a return investment for their shareholders than they are about putting out quality food. So they go in and just completely ruin the quality, just like he was concerned with. They quit using the pressure cookers and start using deep fryers. They go away from his original recipe and add extra crispy, which he was furious about and said was nothing more than a fried dough ball on top of a piece of chicken. And then the final straw was when they changed the recipe to his gravy. He was absolutely furious. He went inside of a KFC, tasted this gravy for the first time, threw it on the floor, and said it was nothing more than wallpaper paste. They just mixed tap water and a bunch of starch together and called it gravy.
I'm really sorry.
Yeah. Well, hey, I'm really sorry too.
Colonel Sanders then proceeds to spend the rest of his life until he's 90 years old talking so much shit about KFC ruining his recipes, they had to sue him to get him to stop. He was a royal pain in the ass for KFC until he passed away from pneumonia at the age of 90. And that is the story of Colonel Sanders. Yes, he was real. Yes, all of that is true. Is he a good role model? Probably not, but you have to admire his ability to push through adversity and not take no for an answer. Thank you for watching. Best way to support the channel is go buy some merch, maybe drink some Echelon, go check out Pepperbox. Links for all those are over at thefatelectrician.com. Quack bang, out. This started as a KFC video. It just turned into the Colonel Sanders video.
Okay, final thoughts. That was not at all what I expected. And that's why the Fat Electrician is probably my favorite YouTube channel. Because just, like, what? Thank y'all for watching. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.